Welcome to TWIG, your weekly geekly family-friendly news show that tackles everything from Elden Ring DLC finally to me also finally getting what I want from Pokemon with some games in between. If you're listening on the podcast version of the show, be sure to give us a good review, click that like on YouTube, or come and listen live on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Folks, as always, we're going to be starting this show with our what have you been watching, what have you been playing, what have you been reading. If you're watching live, I encourage you to engage in the chat in that way. If you're watching after the fact or listening after the fact, just drop it in the comments of the YouTube video. We would love to see what you have to say. I am joined by a level 2 guest. It's not a solo Twig tonight, so I'm going to let our level 2 guest introduce themselves and then tell us what they've been watching, playing, and reading. So take it away.
Hey everybody, my name is Sneaky Pig, or Mike, depending on whichever one you want to call me. All right, so I gotta confess, this has kind of been an odd kind of couple of weeks for me. I have not done a whole lot. I am currently studying for a CompTIA A+ certification exam.
Like right now, you have it on like the other side of the computer. You got notes like sitting right above.
Actually, yes.
You have flashcards, just totally
right
not
there.
listening. Like, yeah, exactly, Nate, exactly.
Yeah, Nate. Yeah. I 100% agree. Yeah, no, I did turn off all my notes. They're all hidden in the taskbar. But yeah, it's been a lot. These certifications are kind of like no joke, and being a full-time worker, full-time dad, and a full-time school person. Phooey. Yeah, it's been a lot. So unfortunately, my playing and all that stuff has been on the back burner. So what I have been playing when I get moments, I have been jumping into Fortnite off and on because they have been doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff, and I love my turtles. So jumping in is being goofy with that and having a blast. If I've been watching anything, it's been a lot of study videos. So a lot of study videos, but in the free time, it's been actually been watching a lot of Critical Role's Candela Obscura, because one of our level 2 members, Mayfly, is going to be running a campaign here pretty soon on Candela with a couple of Checkpoint Church people and a few of her friends. And so I've been kind of watching it just to make sure that like I really understand how the game works and getting ideas. And it's been a lot of fun. Reading, still, I bought almost every Brandon Sanderson book I could find at a bookstore one time, and I have just been making my way through that slog. So I'm almost done with Wax and Wayne series, which I've thoroughly been enjoying, and may or may not have based my Candela Obscura character on one of them. Yes, as I enjoyed it so much. So that's kind of been it. It's been real quiet lately. So my exam is this Friday. So I'm kind of really crossing every finger and toe and praying that I pass. I hit the exam Friday night. So if I pass, my plan is to do absolutely nothing Saturday and Sunday beyond what I need to, and get some solid video game time in because I've been missing it.
That's right. It's got to be a kind of reward. On the other side of the thing, be able to reward yourself with games. I think that's awesome. Love to hear it. I have been watching Frieren and Shangri-La, keeping up with my anime out there, trying to keep up with some of the other weirder ones, but those are the two I'm enjoying the most. I started the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm digging it. I dropped over in our Discord today, Discord in the chat if you want to join that. And Cam from Cameron Plus Deanna was like, I don't know, episode 4 got me really upset, and I'm not sure how I'm enjoying it. Episodes 1 through 3 were fine. I think that I am the perfect person to be watching this show because I remember Atla well enough, and it was a good show. It was not the greatest show I've ever seen. It was not a world-changing show for me. It was one that I watched, and then I never went back and watched again. And so I think that for me, the person who's like disconnected from the story and also not devoted to the story, it's perfect. So I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it as a like, if there are differences between the main storyline and this storyline, I'm not noticing them because I just remember the characters and some of the basic things. So I'm super into it and looking forward to writing a nerdy sermon on it. I feel like you can't not talk about Jesus whenever you talk about The Last Airbender. It's such a fun story. And so definitely going to be doing that. Hopefully this Sunday we shall see. Playing so much stinking Slay the Spire. I'm still in my rut. I cannot stop playing Slay the Spire. It's the only game that I touch and I am so frustrated with it. I want to play other games and I like think about it and then I'm like, well, maybe I'll just do a couple rounds of Slay the Spire. Maybe I'll see if this will be the time that I take down the heart, and then Lo and behold, it's been an hour and a half and I'm sleepy. And that's how it keeps going. And I'm so tired of it. I'm ready to beat it. I've gotten really, really close a ton of times. I've almost maxed out all 4 characters. I got, if you're super curious about it, go to our video games channel and see just how close I got. Because I was like 27 HP away from the heart, and then I got a bum hand, and I was like, no! Like, I was so mad. I was so mad. And this game is one that I know that I can never play on stream because we cannot be family friendly. This one makes me so aggravated. And like, I'm furious at every single hand. So yeah, Slay the Spire, so much.
Close. You were so close.
I almost had it. And I feel like if I would have beat the heart, I think I'd be done. I think I'd be done with the game at that point. And so that's why I'm kind of like a little bittersweet about it, but I think that's what I want to do. And once I get there, like if I want to pick it up again, I can, but for the most part, I think that's going to be my end with the game. So far, I think I'm sitting at about 60 hours, which is a lot. And it's just good. And I just picked up and started reading Novelist as a Vocation, which is a book that I heard about a couple of years ago. And I'm enjoying it for the most part right now. I'm trying to remember the author's name. It's got some great quotes in it. Haruki Murakami, and it's been interesting. I like writing. I think of myself as a bit of a writer, but it's been interesting to hear from somebody that has been in the industry and has maintained a role in the industry for like 30 years. So it's cool stuff. Looking at the chat and some of the things going on there, Mindful Marlena has been watching the new Atla halfway through the first episode, playing God of War Ragnarok. We'll probably be playing that for another year. It is a lengthy game, and depending on how you play it, I can totally get that. Pew Pew still has not caught up on Tokyo Revengers. I would recommend reading the manga there. I enjoyed the anime enough, but second season was like, I don't know, it's good. It was good. I really love Tokyo Revengers as a story, but the anime just kind of was okay the second season. And Mindful Marlena is reading Supernatural by Michael S. Heiser for Sunday school. Great for those that want entry into Christian angel and demon concepts, but very spooky. Ooh, that sounds spooky. And then Trombone wants to let me know that finally beat Defect Third Floor Boss. Rock on. Defect is a lot of fun, but is also so infuriating. They've been one of the ones I haven't so I still have one more unlock of Defect and then one more unlocked of the Poison, the second one, and the other two were my favorites. I really liked the like bonus DLC one, number 4, and number 1 was a lot of fun. So good stuff. All right, well, keep letting us know in the chat as you think of things that you might be watching, playing, and reading. We'd love to hear those and talk to you about them. But we're going to start getting into some of our news stories for tonight. Now, Sneaky, you didn't highlight any. Do you want to go back and forth, or?
Yeah, we can just go back and forth. Yeah, you want to start with Nintendo, and then we'll just jump back and forth.
I will start with our Nintendo Direct. So last week we had a Nintendo Partner Direct, which is where they talk about their third-party titles, not their main-party titles. And we got a look at several things that are coming to the Switch. Even though the Switch is really at the end of its life cycle, everybody's expecting a Switch 2 announcement to be imminent at any moment. This wasn't the time for that, of course. But we did get a lot that actually happened, some that was pretty exciting and a lot that was just kind of neat. The end is where we'll start with the random Endless Ocean Luminous announcement. I have never even heard of Endless Ocean, let alone played it, but that was the one last thing that they did at the end of the show. So clearly there's a niche audience that really wanted this. There was also a niche audience. I never played the original Epic Mickey, but Epic Mickey is getting a remaster called Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed. And that is a Wii game that is now getting a little bump up in the Nintendo universe. Super Monkey Ball always does well. Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble is coming to the Switch. Shin Megami Tensei V5 Vengeance is coming out, and I think it is the DLC content for SMT5. So it's going to be some new things that are coming out this June into that universe. I don't know, because I know how Atlas does their things with Persona. So I don't know if it's the same with SMT and they release one extra bulk and then it's practically a whole new game. I have no idea. Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 are getting a collection, a Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. That was pretty hyped to see. I really loved those games back in the day, and neat to see them again on the Switch. It'd be a ton of fun if the Switch can do multiplayer well, which, speaking of, this Direct was slam-packed with multiplayer games. And so the Switch is not known for being very good at this, and I'm very curious to see if maybe they've just really made a big jump, or I don't know. It was interesting. Suika Game, speaking of, is getting a multiplayer mode. So if you've not seen Suika Game, that's the one that's kind of like Tetris, but you're combining fruits and they get to bigger fruits and then they combine with the next size fruits until you get the biggest fruits possible. And you got to try and keep them inside the container. It took over Twitch a couple months ago. Arranger is coming out, a new indie game. Ender Magnolia, which is Ender Lily's sequel. I've always wanted to play Ender Lilies, so now I've bumped that up the list. Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream is coming to the Switch. Gundam Breaker 4 is there for Perry and all the Gunpla people out there. Obsidian's Grounded and Pentiment are making their way to the Switch. Classic rare games like Killer Instincts and Battletoads in Battle Maniacs are coming to Switch. South Park Snow Day is officially coming to the Switch. And Mother 3 is coming to the Switch in Japan, and people are mad about it. They're very furious that the Mother 3 is finally coming to the Switch and not coming to America. They just refuse to translate this. And I actually saw the E2E like put out a statement and was like, please stop asking me about Mother 3. It is not my call. It is Nintendo's call. I would give you Mother 3 if I could. Like it's not for me. And then the last announcement from the Direct, Monster Hunter Stories, is getting a remaster version for the Switch and other modern platforms. I have a feeling it is probably just going to be very similar to the mobile port that they did a couple years ago, maybe just in landscape instead of in portrait. So yeah, a all-around okay Direct. Like I think I don't know who would have been surprised that this Direct in particular was going to be kind of like a neat at best, because it's so late in the Switch cycle. We know there's going to be no new games coming, and so pretty much all the new games that we got, we already knew about. So yeah, did anything grab your attention here, Sneaky, or were you too busy at flashcards?
Yeah, probably flashcards. But I mean, I'm a sucker for Star Wars Battlefront and so any way that game just keeps going, like I'm 100% behind it. I love my Star Wars games, so totally behind that. I did chuckle because when I saw the South Park game, and I was like, we're still making these. Yeah, we're still making these. Okay. But I did see the Mother 3 announcement, and I particularly thought of Zando and when I saw that. But yeah, I was not surprised when they said just Japan, and I was like, oh, people are going to be so upset.
Yeah.
And they were. So
it was a rug pull moment for sure. I don't want it to be like a situation where it's like, if we can't have it, then no one can, but it kind of does feel that way sometimes. Like it was like,
kind of does, huh?
I wish they wouldn't give it to Japan if they're not going to give it to us. But yeah, it sounds to me like this is one final nail in the coffin of like, you're not getting this. Like keep reading your fan translations, and that's all we're going to go. Yeah. Let's see. Next up, we have Elden Ring. Tell us about that, Sneaky.
All right, the Elden Ring DLC. Okay, we have Elden Ring in here 3 times, so this is good because maybe we'll summon Wish. All right, the much anticipated DLC for Elden Ring, the game that clinched the title of 2022's Game of the Year across numerous platforms, including Esquire, is finally on the horizon. The Shadow of the Erd Tree expansion promises to introduce even more challenging gameplay, as hinted by the eerie trailer featuring a withered arm emerging from a giant egg, accompanied by a voiceover hinting at unprecedented terror. The trailer also seemingly confirms fan speculation that the character Michaela might be making an appearance. So, set to release on June 21st, 2024, the DLC invites players to venture into the Land of Shadow, promising an extension of grueling yet rewarding experience that Elden Ring is known for. Hopefully, Let Me Solo Her is ready to make their entrance back into the world of Elden Ring.
They made a statement. They said they were like, with the DLC, I think this is when I'll retire. So they're officially, They're like, I've done my job. I've done my due diligence. I'm ready to stop taking on Melania and move on to the next thing.
Nice. That's awesome. I can't wait to see what they do. But I'm pretty excited about this. I never really actually got to finish Elden Ring. I only made it so far into that because, again, it just released with so many other games. And I know God of War Ragnarok was the game I was looking forward to the most to playing. So I set, Elden Ring aside for that. And so, again, as we've mentioned this, I think we mentioned this last week on Twig, or the last time we did Twig, that on one hand, it's kind of nice that there seems to be no massive games releasing this year. So I'm kind of really hoping that I can get to spend some time in Elden Ring and hopefully like shoehorn it at the right moment to kind of finish, quote unquote. Do you ever really finish Elden Ring? But to essentially kind of be able to go right from the game into the DLC. So I think that will be pretty fun if I get the chance to do that. So looking forward to this, actually. I think it's going to be really cool.
I'm interested to see the like hours that it takes whenever they officially start debuting it. Like I'm curious to know just how much content is jam packed into this because
Yeah.
I would put my bet on it that it's going to be quite lengthy, just knowing the kind of effort that they typically put into this game and to the secrets that still haven't been found in the base game. I think this is going to be a pretty impressive expansion and will take up a lot of people's time all over again. I'll be interested to see, speaking of Buish, for Buish's sake, if it reinvigorates the PvP scene, because I know that kind of
Yes.
dwindled because people played it so much and they got burnt out and nobody really cared about PvP except for the select few. So maybe we'll see that. And maybe now that DLC is out of the way, we'll get some kind of announcement about Bloodborne 2. Maybe.
Maybe.
Something
Maybe.
out there. We could hear about more. And I'm curious to know what they have next. Although I guess, I mean, we got Armored Core whenever they were working on the DLC. So who knows what they've got up next and what they're going to prepare for us, but I'm excited for whatever it might be. Let us know in the comments what you think about the DLC. Will you be playing it? Did you ever beat Elden Ring? Are you looking forward to seeing Torrent again? All that good stuff. Sony has announced a major restructuring that includes laying off approximately 900 employees, which equates to 8% of its global PlayStation workforce. This move impacts several PlayStation studios such as Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla, Firespite, and notably the PlayStation London studio, which is slated now for closure. The layoffs accompany the cancellation of various in-development games, signaling a significant shift in Sony's approach to its gaming division. Jim Ryan, the outgoing boss of Sony Interactive Entertainment, described the decision as a difficult but necessary step to adapt to the changing industry and prepare for future challenges. The layoffs span across all Sony Interactive Entertainment regions, affecting employees in the US immediately, while those in the UK, due to labor laws, will enter a consultation process. Ryan emphasized the layoffs are part of a broader strategy to streamline operations and focus on delivering high-quality gaming experiences amidst a challenging period for the game industry, marked by widespread layoffs and underwhelming PS5 sales. This restructuring aims to keep Sony agile and ensure its continued leadership in providing innovative gaming experiences. This is disappointing. It keeps happening. They just keep on firing people, and it is a true like decimation of the gaming industry. So I don't know when it'll stop. I'm hoping that we're nearing the end of this a drought, I guess. I don't know what to even call it. It's a massacre really of just continuing layoffs again and again and again, and studios being axed and bought and sold. And I thought about airing Sony's exciting news that their PlayStation Portal is doing better than they thought. And I was like, no, Sony, you don't get to spin this. I'm going to tell your dirty laundry because this is frustrating. I think that it's interesting to me that we keep hearing the same old, like, it's almost getting tired at this point, this excuse of like, it's the industry. The industry's making us do it. And it's like, no, like it's your bottom line. It's your board. It's people behind this that are making these decisions about people's lives. Like, let's stop blaming the industry. And we all know that the PS5 sold gangbusters, even if you couldn't get into people's hands. Like, it wasn't the issue was not the sales. It was the securing of proper tech and all that sort of stuff. So it was, I don't know. It frustrates me. It frustrates me to see the continued corporate spinning of the thing instead of just being transparent about things, which is, we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, what do you think, Sneaky?
Yeah, this is heartbreaking. And I was trying to think about this today and was thinking, man, like last year was such as we've talked about, just a gangbuster year for games. I mean, just massive game after game after game after game. And I was trying to be logical about it in the sense of like, is this just a like post? But we've now come out of all these games, like things are starting to calm down. There's been no real major announcements of any major games this year so far. Like, is this kind of a reaction to that? And the more I even tried to be logical about it, I'm like, no, this like we're seeing way too much of this to even for that to be a part of it. And so this just hurts. And I'm hoping these 900 people find something, some way to land on their feet and some way to, keep hopefully working in the industry that they love. But yeah, this just feels like just one. It kind of feels like you just keep slapping down the draw fours in Uno. Like there's just no stopping. Like, people are just getting punched. And yeah, I 100% agree with you. I hope it stops soon and things calm down and we can have enough of these conversations about all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, we continue to highlight it. And I think this one also highlights an interesting perspective on the difference between the American workforce and the workforce in London. I think it's interesting that here in America, we lay them off immediately, whereas in London, they get consultation privileges. So that's another point that we will say for justice, as we are a church and we believe in justice. That is a clear example of harm being done to people that deserve to be treated as human beings that are being let go instead of just pawns on the pawn board. So
Absolutely.
Another reason that this is important to highlight as a part of our ministry impact that we are here at TWIG. So yeah, in better news, this is really our only sad. Well, I guess maybe not in to the Discord, but this is really our only sad news because the next one is a turnaround that I wanted to make sure that I highlighted because I think it's not perfect, but at least it shows a genuine effort from leadership within a company. So take this one away for us, Nikki.
Absolutely. So Crunchyroll is actively seeking a remedy for Funimation customers facing the loss of their digital anime libraries, as Funimation's web and app services are scheduled to shut down on April 2nd, 2024. This issue arose after Crunchyroll revealed that the integration of Funimation users into its platform would not include the transfer of digital copies of anime, shows, and movies, despite previous assurances from Funimation users about perpetual access to their digital content. Crunchyroll President Rahul Parini, in a conversation with The Verge, stated the company is committed to ensuring customers receive appropriate value for their lost digital titles. Although specific compensation measures were not detailed, Perini mentioned that potential solutions like providing access to digital copies through other services or offering discounts on Crunchyroll's subscription service. The company is addressing concerns on a case-by-case basis through its customer service as it works on a formal plan to compensate affected users adequately. Oh, it's so hard to not be snarky about this. Like, okay, I will give you props, Crunchyroll, for doing something. But I gotta be real. It's really hard when you hear things like appropriate value. How are you measuring that? Like, please tell me, like, what is your metric for that? And doing things like providing digital copies for other services. Awesome. This is the part that killed me. Offering discounts to Crunchyroll subscription. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna take away your stuff, but let's give you a discount so you'll keep using my stuff.
Yeah.
Like again, I get it. And at least it's an olive branch, right? Like at least it's something. But it's so hard not to be snarky about this because I don't want to say like that they're setting a standard, but they're definitely setting a precedent here for things that follow as we continue to have this conversation over do you actually own the digital things that you own? Right? Who actually has ownership? And so I don't want to say this is going to cement that precedent, but this is definitely going to end up being something that will lay the groundwork for precedent. And so it's so hard to be like, yes, you're doing something, but is it
more
enough?
Concerning, like I imagine that the discount would be more than surely like a month or whatever. The concern for me doesn't actually lie there because the one-to-one totally adds up. Like I would say providing digital copies on other services, that is perfectly fine with me. What concerns me about this is the case-by-case situation because that almost feels like a mail-in rebate situation, right? Like it's
Right?
like we know that 95% of you are not going to mail in the rebate and so we actually aren't going to lose anything and we're just counting on the 5% of you to reach out. And that's frustrating to me because that is what I would prefer is more of a like, we are going to provide you with keys. We are going to provide you with an exact one-to-one parallel of everything that you're losing instead of you tell us what you've lost and we'll try to get it to you. That's the frustrating part for me.
Yes.
I see that this will almost certainly, there's no way in my mind, I guess the question is how big, but there's no way in my mind the FTC doesn't step in and we don't see some kind of backlash from the impact here fiscally on a massive chunk of people. like you said, I think this could be a precedent-setting case if the FTC does step in and decides to kind of lay down some of the hammer of the communications law. And we'll see. We'll see. Because again, like the FCC might deal more in the actual communications aspect of it, but this is money. Like this isn't just the internet. This isn't just digital. Like this is bringing in trade and fiscal properties going from one party to the next. So I'll be interested. I'll be interested to see where this one actually goes and where people take it from here. And if we do hear about a case, this seems to be maybe some spin being done as well in a positive direction. And hopefully they'll take that spin and make good and it'll be better. But I'm anxious. Pew Pew, I do use Crunchyroll. I also love Netflix anime. I think Netflix does a really good job with the anime. That's my humble opinion. A lot of people disagree with me, but I really do think that. And then I also use High Dive. So those are my 3 anime sites. Hulu every now and again has anime, but I would rather honestly hit my head through the drywall than try to deal with Hulu's interface. So that's how I feel about that. So there you go. Next up, Stardew Valley. Eric Barone, known as Concerned Ape, the creator of Stardew Valley, has announced the release date for the game's highly anticipated patch 1.6, marking the game's 8th anniversary. The update is scheduled to launch on PC on March 19th, with versions for consoles and mobile devices to follow as soon as possible. This announcement comes after a year of teasing and a development period that extended beyond expectations. Additionally, Stardew Valley has reached a significant milestone, reaching 30 million sales across all platforms, with over 19 million of those on PC. This update, which has been in the works since Barone decided to pause development on his new projects, Haunted Chocolatier, in April, promises new features such as a fresh farm layout, 8-player multiplayer support, hats for pets, and potentially an Iridium scythe. However, many details of the update remain under wraps until its release. This achievement underscores Stardew Valley's enduring popularity and its status as a beloved title in the gaming community. I'm super excited about Stardew. As long as TWIG is put together by me, we will continue getting updates on farming sims and visual novels. And I don't care if this isn't newsworthy or not, because I think this is super cool and exciting. And the more Stardew, the better. And I will always be in Eric Barone's corner. I think he's the coolest guy.
I mean, the Checkpoint's going to finally, with its 8-player multiplayer, we're going to have a Checkpoint Stardew farm now.
So fun. I wish they would do like 50-player. Like, let's go ahead and just why don't we just go all the way to the wall and like let's do the thing, do it upright, and let's have a Minecraft realm but a Stardew Valley realm instead. Like that's what I want.
That would be cool.
I'm here for that life. So we'll see if that ever happens. But for now, we get more story. We get new stuff. I actually never played the 1.5 update, and that added in a ton of new stuff, supposedly. So now we have 2 major updates that are adding a bunch of things. I'm contemplating getting back. I think I might start up a new Stardew account, which I don't need to do because I have so many hours in Stardew at this point. But it might be time. It might be time for yet another run through the world.
Hey, at this point, whatever pulls you away from Slay the Spire, right? Let's...
That's how I feel about it right now. And I got to stop playing that game. It's so much of my time. So let us know in the chat if you have any thoughts about Stardew, if it's a game that you are into, if you're excited about updates, if you think it's just a cool feat of an indie game. 30 million units for an indie game is pretty bonkers, you know. Just
it's impressive.
Incredible what he's been able to do. And they actually also, I didn't mention it, but I think it may have been on a Twig. Like I said, knowing me, it was probably on a Twig. They're doing a concert series that just kicked off a couple weeks ago. So just like Undertale has been doing for years now Stardew is getting into their concert series. And I think it's so cool to see those 2 indie games really just kind of conquer the world. So love to see it. All right, wrap us up with the last news story of our main section, Sneaky.
Actually, I'm gonna turn this one over to you because you are the Pokemon fan, and I hate to take this from you. So I need your best Pokemon excitement here.
That is very fair. The Pokemon Presents happened this morning. We watched it together over on our Discord. If you want to join us on watch-alongs like that, I try, as long as they're during a good time period, to watch those as they happen. So the Pokemon Presents started very much in the way we anticipated. We got announcements about the mobile games. We got announcement about new terror raids happening in Scarlet and Violet. This time there happens to be 3 kind of in honor of Pokemon Day. You can catch Venusaur, Blastoise, and Charizard in terror raids with the Mighty Mark, which is pretty neat. Pokemon Horizons is officially getting another tease, and as a part of their tease coming to Netflix, they are also going to be doing an event in Pokemon Go, so that's exciting enough. Something that infuriates me is that they announced a new Pokemon trading card game Pocket, a Pokemon trading card game for your phone. It looks super neat. You're like opening packs on your phone and like swiping to open them, and you get cards and you can collect them and you can trade them and you can battle within it, which is super neat. If they didn't already have a mobile app for the Pokemon trading card game that they didn't announce for like 2 years, and I stopped playing, and it makes me so mad because I wanted Pokemon Trading Card Game Live to be the next new thing, and they have just completely brushed it under the rug, and now they're doing this cool new thing that I'm gonna download, and I'm gonna play it. And the irony is that I could have been playing the trading card game for 2 years now, and I'm gonna end up playing this other thing. So now I gotta wait again for whenever this comes out this year to do anything with the trading card game. And I wanted the old one. The old one was so ugly, but you know, it was there and it worked and it was effective. And I just wish we had something from them. Like I said, all the mobile games got updates. We got announcements of new Pokemon in Pokemon Unite, which means I'll probably play Pokemon Unite in a couple weeks just to try out Miraidon, Phalanx, and Cerule Edge. I think was Cerule Edge. I love Pokemon Unite. I never get back into it, but I always try to, whenever a new character comes out, play it because I really enjoyed whenever we did play it a lot, and it was fun for me. And then the big question was, what is the one more thing going to be? Those of you that have seen it and see down below what it was, everybody thought that it was going to be a new Pokemon Let's Go, which is the Pokemon Go version of the red, blue, yellow games that they did many years ago at this point, back at the beginning of the Switch's life cycle. And they thought it was going to be a Let's Go Johto, but instead the big announcement was one that I never thought we would get. It is a black and white retelling, so it is another journey in the world of black and white, but it is a new Pokemon Legends game, and it is so exciting. I don't even like black and white. They were fine. They were okay games. I still need to play Black 2 and White 2, but Pokemon Legends is my favorite Pokemon game. I feel like I can equivocally say that now. Like, I feel like I can finally say Pokemon Legends is my favorite because I've played all of them for the past, decade at this point, and I've enjoyed the games. I've gotten back into them. I've gone back. I've played Black and White. I have my favorite moments with Pokemon Emerald, but I think Pokemon Legends Arceus is probably my favorite Pokemon game ever released. And now we get another one. And I sure hope it's good because, man, they killed it with the first one. And it was just not as respected as I think it should have been. So I'm hopeful that they really nail it in the second one. And so that we can see some more goodness. I love Emerald. Don't get me wrong. I love Emerald, Fire Red, and these are like my tied for first place. Emerald, Fire Red, and Arceus. But today, because a new Legends was announced, Arceus is my favorite. And I'll change it like a pair of socks next week and tell you a different one. But yeah, this was super exciting and also super infuriating with the trading card game. So I had a real whirlwind of emotions, but I love Pokemon. We had Pokemon Days when we first started Checkpoint because it's my favorite thing. And now we're officially getting a new game, 2025, Pokemon Legends ZA. Pokemon Legends ZA. You could have a better title. The logo is better than the Arceus logo, I will say. I think it's a little bit cooler, and the Arceus one was real bad because it was 3 different fonts. And if you know graphic design, you don't do that. So this one is still multiple fonts, but at least they're like symbols. I'll give it to them. Yeah, so this was exciting and good news and good stuff, and I'm excited for more. I will also say that it is interesting to me that they didn't announce a new Pokemon mainline, and that is encouraging to me because now we know that they're going to keep working on a new game rather than worrying about announcing one every other year. Like, they're actually going to push it because there's no way they're going to do another announcement before probably fall. And even then, the fall announcement will probably be for the next holiday season. So I think we've got at least another year before a new mainline game. And I think that is incredible news. I'm looking forward to Christmas 2025 whenever we probably get our next Pokemon game. And if it's even longer, hey, that means it's probably going to be even better. So this is cool stuff. Any thoughts on the Pokemon? I know you didn't want to announce it, but do you have any thoughts at all on this one, Sneaky?
I don't, but this is exactly what I wanted you to announce it because you were going off in the Discord earlier about the mobile game, and I just needed to hear that live.
Oh,
but
so mad.
No, I'm excited. It's been fun to like poke around other Discords that I'm a part of and see people's excitement about Pokemon. So I love watching fandoms just get so excited, even when I don't particularly have my own excitement in regard to the fandom. But I love watching other people get excited. So
yes. Well, and it means that we have more opportunities to hear the salty, 30 somethings that are going to be like nearly 40 somethings at this point talk about how Pokemon isn't how it used to be and they just really need to like grow with the times, and it's still going to be a game for kids, and I'm going to have to talk about that. I'm going to have to tell people and remind them this is a game for children, and that will never sit right with some Poke nerds. So that conversation is always fun, and it always makes for a good nerdy sermon, and I'm sure it will happen once again when we get there. With that, we're going to wrap up our main segment of the show of news and move in to our favorite segment of the show, maybe Cryptic Critiques. That's right. It is time for Cryptic Critiques. Critiques is where I have found 1-star reviews for a 5-star game, or at least a much beloved Vigi game, and I find the reviews that are typically not so great about them. I'm going to present them to our special guest and see if they can guess what the game is and when they'll be able to get it based off of the prompts. Feel free to play along in the chat. Don't drop your guesses until Sneaky gets a chance to make his final guess, but keep it. You can even type it in the chat and just like say like, I typed this out at prompt number 1 or whatever, and we'll take you at your word. So we're going to get into these 3 prompts. Again, these are 1-star prompts for an arguably 5-star game, and I've got them blacked out so Sneaky cannot see, but I'm going to reveal our first one. Prompt number 1. As with their other games, there's a lot about their games that I love, but I wish I liked playing through them more. As with their other games, there's a lot about their games that I love, but I wish I liked playing through them more.
Oof.
That could describe so many games.
I was going to say that. I'm like, that is so broad, but okay.
This is pretty much the Nerd Pastor Nate game experience. Like visual novels, all the games that I play are like the ones that are not actually the greatest games, but I just play them for the story. All right. Any guesses off just prompt number 1? Or are we ready for prompt number 2?
Do too, because I'm like
too broad.
That's way too broad.
Too broad. This one will probably get you closer, if not give it away. Prompt number 2: Twin Peaks from Shein. Which, if you don't know Shein, it is like it is the discount app where you can buy products that were undoubtedly made for very, very cheap by someone that was an unwilling participant of a broken system. Shein. Twin Peaks from Shein. Does that give it away?
I'm pretty sure it does. I'm fairly confident in my answer, but we'll see if prompt 3 cements it.
All right. Mayfly says even she's got it at this point. Prompt number 3, and personally my favorite one, as somebody that enjoyed this game enough, but has agreed with this negative review. This game studio writes coherent ending challenge level impossible. This game studio writes coherent ending challenge level impossible. You got what it is, Sneaky.
Based on that one, I'm going to say it's Alan Wake 2.
It is indeed Alan Wake 2. Chats in the clap for Sneaky. Did anybody else get it right away? I feel like Twin Peaks was the dead giveaway, but prompt 3 just brings me so much joy.
Twin Peaks, well, I figured Twin Peaks was good, but then I was like, well, is he going to go for number 1? Is he going to go for number 2?
Right.
But knowing people's reaction to the ending of the second game, the number 3 definitely cemented it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. They do drive me so crazy with their teasing of the endings, and they're like, they want you. They want you to want that next game so bad, and it is pretty telegraphed in some.
But it works. It works so well. Remedy is so just chef's kiss with their teasers.
This user would care to disagree. But yeah, this one was a fun one. Actually, the reviews here really were pretty funny. Typically, whenever I go through a game and I look for its 1-star reviews, they're real cruel and I have to find the funny ones. Almost everybody that hates Alan Wake 2 has a great sense of humor and really wants to make fun of it in some wonderful ways. And so I appreciated that about it. There were some people that just were, mad for mad's sake. But even then, their rambling was not unlike my own, in which it's just kind of absurd and over the top and fun at the end of the day.
And then if you ever hear me talk about this game, like I'm the meme of the guy with the all the stuff on the wall and the string is everywhere.
That's it.
Like you know, like that's me with this game. Like I'm a huge fan of Remedy games. Like I love Alan Wake, love Control. So I'm a sucker for everything they will stick in my face. So
I love it. I love it. Well, I thought about, changing this game to being like game of the years that got 1-star reviews, but then I feel like it'd make it too specific. So that's why I kept it to the broader, just 5-star games. But this is unarguably one that was quite the trendsetter. So quite a beloved game, even though I would argue Danganronpa is just as beloved, doggone it. With that, we'll get into our next segment of the show. Right, it is time for To the Discord, and I thought I didn't recognize this at all, and I just freaked out at the slideshow. I was like, what is that picture? But now it makes sense. This is To the Discord. This is where you, the community, submit news to us on our Discord server. If you want to submit Discord, or if you want to submit news to us on our Discord, be sure to join it, !Discord in the chat, or it'll be linked down below if you're watching over on YouTube. We would love to have you in that space. Every Monday over in Ask Questions, Get Answers, we drop a question of what news you think that Checkpoint should talk about and TWIG should talk about this upcoming Tuesday. So be sure to be on there, drop in some news for us. Admittedly, this time we had to make some hard pulls. The Discord's been pretty busy this week, and I think it got buried. And so we only got one actual news story this week, and that was from Twyla. So the other two I had to pull a little deep, but it will be fine. Since I took the last one, Sneaky, why don't you take it away with the first one?
all right. Okay, this is coming from Twyla. The article from Playable Futures delves into how video game design is innovatively merging with theater and exhibition spaces, as shared by Felix Barrett of Punch Drunk and Marie Falston of Good Afternoon. Barrett's immersive theater experiences now deliberately incorporate video game mechanics, transforming audience members into active participants in an open world adventure, while Falston's curatorial work in exhibitions like the VA's Design, Play, Disrupt uses game design principles to guide and engage visitors. This blend of disciplines showcase the growing influence of video game design in enhancing the interactivity and immersion of artistic and public spaces, paving the way for new forms of creative expression and audience experience. I love this.
Yeah, it made me really happy to read. It's a great article, and you should look up those exhibitions. We don't post the show notes, and I wish we should, or I wish we would, but I just have never gotten them together. But Playable Futures, if it's in our Ask Questions, Get Answers, you can see it posted by Twyla. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, super, super cool. It made me think about something my half brother, when he was growing up, he did show choir. And his show choir for a performance, did a Dance Revolution routine.
Ooh.
In which they incorporated a lot of music, and the stage was the gamepad, and they did all sorts of cool stuff with it. And it made me kind of go back to this, where it's like, it's really awesome to see those kind of things get put into something that you normally would not see that go into. And so just super cool to see this meshing of just artistic things coming together in new ways. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I've long thought this about escape rooms. And like my favorite games to play growing up were to like go on to Newgrounds and to try and find some new escape rooms and see what I could find to adventure and pick up random objects and interact with them. And then whenever I learned that was like a real thing that people were doing in like, metro areas, I was like, well, I got to try that out. And so then I got into it and I super enjoyed that scene. And this just makes so much sense to me, especially having literally just been at Disney World. Like, talk about somebody that gets how to gamify. If you go on the new Guardians ride, like, you can tell the difference between the Guardians ride that has been made with game design in mind to all of the other experiences of like the past, 40 years, where some of them are going to be more dated and some of them are not going to have the aspects of like immersion that they were trying to create in this particular ride. It really shows the next wave of like how we're taking the study of ludology and the study of play into account in the things that we do theatrically. So as a lover of theater myself, and as somebody that dabbled quite a bit in high school, I am passionate about this kind of thing, and I love to see it. And it continues to make me think about parallels to the church. Obviously, what we're doing at Checkpoint is weird. The fact that we are creating a church online is obviously weird, but there's elements of what we do that has to be gamified, and that we could learn from the ludology of gaming in the way that we experience God. And isn't that cool? That's a neat thing to be able to explore. So Yeah, this is a great conversation starter, if nothing else, from Twyla, and I appreciated them sharing it over to us. With that,
Yeah, absolutely. Great article.
we're going to get into the next one, which is a deep cut. And again, this is only because we didn't have anybody submit news. And so I had to pull from what I could. Russ from Crossfire Faith Plus Gaming, if we can get them a shout out. I know Trombone's a mod if you got the memorized code there. Russ from Crossfire Faith and Gaming shared with us that he is traveling to Atlanta and was staying in a hotel and looked around and was like, I know this hotel. And then looked it up and learned that sure enough, there is a hotel in Atlanta that serves as the headquarters for the TVA, or the Time Variance Authority, from the Disney Plus series Loki. And it is at the Marriott Marquis Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. And so he looked around and saw the like elevators and the like statues and the things that were there, and just started to freak out and worried that maybe he had broken the Matrix. So at the very least, I felt like we needed to highlight that this was neat, that it even exists. I had no idea that it was a thing in real life. I thought for sure it was probably just a set, but the fact that it's actually a thing that happens and that is a thing that exists that you could go and see if you wanted to is a super nice little touch, especially for something as fourth wall breaky as Loki, because it needs to exist in real life, because the TVA, of course, is active in our day and age, for reals, right? So neat stuff.
Yeah, so when you posted this, I was like, I was trying to picture like walking into this hotel and being like, wait a minute. And like just how surreal that moment had to be. So super cool. I'm 100% agree with you. Like I totally thought that this was just somebody whipped this together on their computer and it looked awesome. And to learn it's actually a real thing is pretty cool.
Yes. Totally agree. I really want them to like do what they can to. Now, this is a super long time ago. This article is literally 3 years old. So this is old news. It just happens to be new news to us. But I want them to make the like Mrs. Time or whatever the character was. Like I want that to be who guides you through your like check-in process or whatever, whenever you have any like kiosks. I want them to lean into the meme and commit to the bit there. Because I think it'd be super fun. All right, into our final story for tonight.
All right, another one from Twyla. Xbox is expanding its horizons by bringing 4 fan favorite games to Nintendo Switch and Sony platforms this spring, marking a significant move towards cross-platform play. Matt Booty, president of game content and studios at Xbox, announced that Pentiment from Obsidian Entertainment, Hi-Fi Rush by Tango Gameworks, Bethesda Softworks, Grounded, also from Obsidian Entertainment, and Sea of Thieves from Rare, will soon be available on PlayStation 4, 5, and the Nintendo Switch. This initiative not only opens up these beloved games to a wider audience, but also supports crossplay across Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and PC, fostering a more connected gaming community. With titles like Minecraft, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Diablo already accessible on multiple platforms, Xbox is excited to further bridge the gap between different gaming communities, allowing more players to share in these experiences. Additionally, Xbox reassures its commitment to providing a flagship experience on its consoles, promising the biggest games, day one Game Pass releases, and innovative hardware, while ensuring compatibility and support for game creators to reach the widest audience possible. Okay, so I know we probably have talked about this somewhere before. Oh, he's here! We summoned the Buish!
We did.
We did it! Yay. Hi, Buish. So happy you're here. But, I mean, I know we've talked about this before in the sense of like, this was just the most awkward thing for Xbox in announcing these 4 games based on all the theories of what Xbox was going to possibly say at this press release. And I know pretty much, you know, the community called out what the 4 games were before it even like happened. But no, overall, again, I have to pretty much agree with this article. There's nothing too horrible from this in the sense that like giving more games to more people and more ways for people to play together. I mean, you know, Pentiment is a sleeper game that's amazing, and so giving more ability for people to experience that game. Hi-Fi Rush, same thing. Like, you know, such a wonderful game. And then the ability to take things like Grounded and for you to get trolled horribly in Sea of Thieves. You know, I personally just love the fact that people could just benefit from being able to play more. And not only just exposure to games, but now being able to, you know, play games with your friends across platforms. So Weird way for this to get announced, but all in all, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it was a very unexciting podcast, but it was nice to finally have everything confirmed and to know what was actually happening and what was actually going over. This was sort of a part of the Nintendo Direct that we didn't mention, but there was a big announcement of all the things that were going to be coming to the Switch, and people were excited over that. Of course, there is some irony in my being a huge Nintendo fan, and also like I do agree that I think that we need less exclusives, and I think less exclusives are a good thing, just not from my baby Nintendo, not from my favorites. Although I think that, in all honesty, if really, fire to the flame, I would probably say, yeah, we need to put Nintendo games on all consoles. I just don't want them to go out of business and stop making them, because that's really the one thing they have going for them. But yeah, Pentiment, exciting. I loved that game, obviously. I did not super love Hi-Fi Rush, I thought it was good. And then Grounded, I've just never played. That was one that I slept on forever. And Sea of Thieves, like you said, gonna get memed on, and it'll be great. So I give it 2 thumbs up. I think it's good to keep on getting the news out. I think this is just going to be the beginning of the wave of games that we're going to see loosened from the ties of exclusivity in Xbox. I think we're going to start to see a whole lot happen in the next couple months, especially with, Xbox's kind of nod towards the fact that this is really only the beginning of this journey. And while they're going to stay in the console games, they're really backing away from the exclusivity game. So it's good stuff all around, and hopefully it will serve us all better. As a justice-oriented platform, hopefully we will see it as an instance of doing no harm, because now there are going to be more games available to people that can only afford one console or not afford a console at all and can play still on Game Pass or can do whatever works best for them. So hopefully this will allow for more accessibility to more games, and all around that is an example of good and of preventing harm being done in the form of keeping people from the wonderful culture and conversations and community that are built around gaming that we highlight so well at Checkpoint. So it's good stuff. Folks, with that, we're going to get into our next segment of the show. But before we do, I'll remind you, To the Discord is a segment built by you. So make sure to use our Ask Questions, Get Answers every Monday over on our Discord. Again, !Discord in the chat if you want to get access to that. Make sure to post news that we have some wonderful things to talk about with you. With that, we're going to get into my personal favorite segment of the show.
At this point in nerd history.
That's right. It's time for At This Point in Nerd History. These are games, movies, TV shows, anything random that actually happened today, on today's exact date, February 27th, throughout time and space. So I think we could just go back and forth for this one as well. It's pretty short, so we can the first one is exciting. This is Pokemon Day. For those of you that didn't know, that's why the Pokemon Presents happens today. And the reason that it is called Pokemon Day is because back in 1996, Pokemon Red and Green were released in Japan on this exact day, marking the beginning of an era.
Okay, you're gonna have to do the next one because you put this in. I don't even know what this is.
This is a lot of acronyms. This is The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons, and Oracle of Ages. Were also released on this day in Japan. So I'll go through them. We'll be good. Or you can do the next two. It's fine.
I got Peggle. Oh my goodness. If nobody, I mean, I'm gonna date myself here, but like I have put some hours into Peggle, man. Oh, sure. That is it. That is a solid game right there. That was released in 2007. Stories Untold was released in 2017.
Yes, and that is one that I will always recommend to people if you've never played Stories Untold. If you like horror and you like short stories, if you liked Edith Finch, but you wanted Edith Finch to be spooky, Stories Untold. And then Into the Breach came out in 2018, which is one that I've never even understood how to play. I've started that game a million times, and I literally don't understand what's happening. And I don't know what I'm missing. There's like a tutorial that my game has just never installed or something, and I want to play that game, and I never have. And people love it, and I want to know why. And then the last one, movies. This isn't really movies. This is just something that happened. But Happy Madison, as in the production company, was founded in 1996. So Adam Sandler cemented himself as a production company back in 1996 on February 27th. So
nice.
Exciting stuff. Any of those stand out to you? Obviously, Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons is one that very much stood out to you.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So, what's funny is just the Legend of Zelda. I mean, it's so hit and miss for me. Like there are some that I have played and I have played deeply. I've beat them. I love them. And there's some that are just poof, not on my radar at all.
I've never played these. I thought about watching Jate play them, but then Jate just streams at 3 o'clock in the morning whenever he was doing his Legend of Zelda playthrough.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He played both of these games, and I think they're kind of like the Pokemon thing where they tried to go back and forth and create two games that were sort of parallel to each other and had different elements. But I don't know. I never got into them either. I'd love to learn what makes them good and why people care. All right, Buish says, which is your favorite?
I know. I just saw that. Which one's my favorite Legend of Zelda? I'm gonna either have to go with the OG or Ocarina of Time. Both of those are pretty up there. I love old school Zelda for some reason.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people would probably say the one that I've not really played. What was the one that Zando had me play? The one that was on the SNES that everybody loves.
Which one was that?
Whichever one that is. I grew up on Ocarina, but I have since changed my mind. Ocarina used to be my favorite, but now I think it's probably, I agree, Gobi Church, that Wind Waker is exceptional. It's one of my favorite games. It's probably a number 2 next to Tears of the Kingdom for me now. It took the cake for me. I know that people were so mid on that game, and I hate it for them because, man, it was life-changing for me. Like, it was such a good game and so exactly what I wanted from it. And as good as Breath of the Wild was, it improved upon it in every way for me. And I continue to think just peak. So, yeah, I loved that one. Actual favorite was Zelda 2, though, says Gobi Church. I do agree. I think Wind Waker is a close contender for me as far as games go. It was, the aesthetic for that one was so strong. So, good stuff. Well, let us know if any of those at this point in nerd history stood out to you as well in the chat. But we are going to be getting into our penultimate segment of the show. No, to answer Bui's question before we get into it, I love Twilight Princess as well, and I do think it's a good game and arguably one of the most underrated of the Zeldas, at least of the good Zeldas, the ones that are actually worth our time. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, we're going to do some upcoming releases. If you haven't been on the show in a little while with this latest season, rather than go through literally every single thing that is releasing in the next week, because that takes forever and odds are people don't even click what's happening, we just pick 3 things that are coming up. Each of us pick 3 things and talk about some of the excitement that we have behind them. So we'll go back and forth one at a time, and I will let you start with your first one, Sneaky.
Okay, I was really excited about one of yours, so I'm pardon my squealing when you talk about it.
I already know which one it is.
So I wanted to highlight basically, just Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out. While I don't know when I will get to play it, but I am excited to hopefully be catching some people watching it or playing it and streaming. But Final Fantasy VII is so good, and I'm really excited to see what they did with it here. So.
I gotta be real. I never played the remake, and so I'm kind of like, maybe this means I need to finally do that. Maybe I need to bump it up even higher on my, you know how I did my backlogged, and so it's been on there forever. It's just never RNGesus has not chosen it. So maybe it'll finally get the RNGesus approval, and I'll be able to finally play FF7 remake, and then I can play Rebirth because I know the story beats and I know the changes and the adjustments that were made. So I'm curious about it, and I'd love to experience it. Maybe. Well, I will start with the one that you're undoubtedly excited about. Number 2, right? That's the one you're amped about?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I'll start with Shogun. So Shogun is coming to, I believe, is it FX? Which one is it coming to?
It's FX, yes.
It's FX. So Shogun is a new show coming out based off of a book series. The premise is Shogun follows the collision of 2 ambitious men from different worlds and a mysterious female samurai. John Black, thrown a risk-taking English sailor who ends up shipwrecked in Japan, a land whose unfamiliar culture will ultimately redefine him. Lord Toranaga, a shrewd, powerful daimyo at odds with his own dangerous political rivals, and Lady Mariko, a woman with invaluable skills but dishonorable family ties, who must prove her value and allegiance. This one looks so good. It looks so polished. It is a 10 out of 10 from IGN, which means it's going to be at least really good. It may not be a 10 out of 10 because sometimes they miss, but I think it's probably going to be a 10 out of 10, and I'm super down for this.
Dude, yes, absolutely. I have been looking forward to this ever since it got announced, and I cannot wait. So,
like the IGN thing was just like a cementing. Like, it was like I already knew that I was going to watch this. I was so excited for this, and I knew it was going to be good. People had already been talking it up, and then I saw that perfect 10, and I was like, wow, there we go. Like, this is it. I'm sold. Like, hook, line, and sinker. You got me.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, your number 2.
All right, my number two, I put on here. It's been out for a little while, so not quite. It's not like a new release. It's been out for a little bit. But Star Wars Bad Batch Season 3. The only reason I'm actually like super excited to watch this one is because again, it's Star Wars. Love my Star Wars, but this will be something that my youngest son Nathan and I will sit down and watch together. And so I always look forward to being able to spend time on the couch, snuggling with the kids, watching Star Wars. So very excited to catch up on this one and see how it goes, because this is supposed to be, I believe it's supposed to be the last season. So really curious to see how they're going to tie all this up. And so far, I mean, it's done fairly well, and I've enjoyed it. So I'm excited to see how they wrap it up.
I'm very curious as well. I didn't realize that. I've not caught any of it. I don't really do the spin-off shows, but I'm super interested to know if this is wrapping up the story. And yeah, good stuff. My number two that I joked that Sneaky, this was the one that he picked, because it definitely was not. I love Picross. If y'all don't know that about me, Picross is my favorite games of all time. I love nonogram games where you're able to solve. You've probably seen them before, even if you've not played them. It is one of my favorite puzzles to solve. And I learned that there is a new Pixel Cross game coming out that is Story of Seasons themed. If you don't know Story of Seasons, it's who used to be Harvest Moon. And so the premise of this is that you're making things from a farming sim. So it's one of my favorite puzzles of all time, meets one of my favorite game genres of all time, in one of my favorite franchises of all time. I mean, come on. What's not to be excited about for this one? So I'm super thrilled about this one, and it is such a sleeper hit that I have no idea how I even found it, because there's no way that anybody's talking about this game. No one cares about this game. It could not be lower key, and yet somehow it popped up on my newsfeed in particular because of my niche interest, and I heard about it, and I've already got it wishlisted and can't wait to buy it. So
the most important question of this is, are there any romancing options? Because we know how much you love Picross and romance.
If they do a dating sim element to Picross, my world will be irrevocably changed. Do you understand? Like, I will never view like existence as it has been. It will change everything. And I'll be seeking out that high for the rest of my life. When will I find another dating sim nonogram game? If I don't get it, I'm not living. Yeah, it's going to be so good. I'm convinced it's going to be exactly what I think it's going to be, and it's just going to be more puzzles for me to solve, which will scratch my brain in all the right ways. All right, number 3.
All right, my last one. I'm just highlighting this because it's kind of a sort of half and half, and I already kind of mentioned this earlier, but I believe Sunday. Oh my goodness, is here already. On Sunday, one of our resident level 2 and Guardians, Mayfly, is going to be running a Candela Obscura campaign, which a few of us from the Checkpoint group are going to be in this, and I am super excited about it because... Sorry, Mayfly, I'm just really excited. But super excited to be a part of this, and gonna look forward to see what we end up doing with this and to see where it goes and if it leads to us playing this more. But super crazy. I'm hyped, Mayfly. I'm sorry. I'm hyped.
That's it. That's the upcoming release.
Don't be scared.
This is going to be recorded,
You're gonna
put in
nail
podcast. This is going to be serialized. I'm assuming this is going up on its own YouTube channel. I'm guessing this is professional voice actors. It's going to be, the next big thing. I'm fully anticipating that. If y'all aren't monetized in like a week after a couple episodes,
right,
then I don't know what y'all are doing. This is definitely going to hit it big. I'm excited for you guys. I love the connection, and I love seeing this kind of birthed sort of out of Checkpoint, sort of out of a just beautiful blending of multiple communities that have met in the nerd space, and that makes me so. Good stuff. I'm excited to hear more about it as it actually kicks off, and I know Mayfly is going to do an awesome job. My final upcoming release is an indie game that I played the demo for and super enjoyed, and so I'll drop a little recommendation in here for my indie loving peeps out there. Avoid Hope is finally coming out. It's a little pun. I like it. Avoid Hope. Avoid Hope is fun. And it takes you on an atmospheric puzzle platforming adventure to find a cure for a collapsed city. Follow the story of a tormented couple as they try to decipher reality from nightmares and overcome the shadowy threats lurking in the dark. It looks super fun. Dare I say a 2D Alan Wake, perhaps? I mean, ooh. It could be, depending on how you look at it. I doubt it goes to the same levels and depths, but maybe. And I do love supporting indies. So I'm a big fan. The aesthetic for this one is super fun pixel art. So if you're a big fan of pixel art, if you're a fan of platformers, if you're a fan of slightly scary games, then this is going to be the one for you. So check it out. Avoid Hope. See if it looks like it's going to be for you. Support indie devs. We love to see it.
I love them.
Go ahead.
So we love them.
We love them. Absolutely. Folks, if you have any upcoming announcements, upcoming games, upcoming things that you want to drop in the chat, be sure to let us know. But we are going to be moving in to our final segment of the show. That's right. It's time for our meme of the week. Our meme of the week that won this time is one from yours truly. I was honored to be reacted to so positively with this one. I stole it off the internet. But this is a classic meme structure here. I'm a huge Bethesda fan. Oh, yeah? Well, name 10 Bethesda releases. Skyrim. That's on me. I set the bar too low. A classic mashup of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and New Girl crossover episode, and good stuff. We always love to pick on Skyrim and it releasing on refrigerators and everything in between. And yeah, good meme usage.
This is why we can't have the next Elder Scrolls, because they just don't stop re-releasing Skyrim.
Yes. Yeah.
We could have had it by now.
I expected Mayfly to just burn when she saw this one. Just be so furious. About more Bethesda. Stop talking about Todd Howard. We have enough of him in the Discord already. We need no more. Good stuff. If you would like to be considered for our meme of the week next week, then go use our memes and goofs segment over on our Discord. We would love to have you over there. And that's a super active, fun channel. I love our memes and goofs. I love seeing what you guys come up with. The ones that get the most reactions are the ones that we typically end up using in the show. And your meme could be featured in our meme of the week next week if you use that channel and get those reactions. And good stuff will follow. Sneaky. We are into the end of the show. Where can people find you? Where do you want to be found on the internet? And what are your closing remarks here?
Well, thank you for having me. It has been a blast. I love getting to be on here and do this segment with you. It's always a good time. But I'm on our Discord, man. Checkpoint Church Discord is the place to find me, because that's where I spend all my time, because I love our community, and they're so much fun to hang out with, and they are a bright spot all the time. So, but you want to find me? I'm on the Discord, and with that, come to our Discord.
Yes, and that is where we'll be headed as soon as we end the show. So I'm going to be doing the closing notes here. We're going to thank our subscribers. We're going to do our 3 things. And as we wrap up, we're going to end the stream here and hop over into our Discord server where we're going to be hanging out playing games as long as our Guardians can hang out for. So, or at least until 11, not past that. So if you would like, Eastern, if you would like to hang out with us in that space, feel free to hop over to the Discord and chill with us. I'm going to see if I can get into Helldivers again. We'll find out, or maybe we'll play something else together, whatever people are feeling like doing tonight. With that, this has been Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show delivered live on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch each and every week, keeping your family connected to the world of nerdy news. If you watched this far, then odds are you likely enjoyed this one. So remember to give us a 5-star on your favorite podcasting app, give that like button a click, and recommend the show to your favorite nerds. We are also going to be thanking our subscribers who make this show possible and help support this innovative ministry here on Twitch. Thank you to Xando Calrissian, Twyla27, Rain Plus Cat, Nerd Pastor Nate, HMan1009, Pineapple Pope, IV, Sneaky Pig 633, Jake Live, Perspective, Splash Force Gaming 2, Wise and Lemur, Weesh, Strange Done, Yakeem 4752, Deacon Shannon LS, Maybe 30 Bats, Teeny Christina P, Mayfly, and Mindful Marlena. Thank you for your subscriptions to this space so that we can continue doing this cool thing called Twig and all of the things we do at Checkpoint. Is there going to be Twig next week? Yes, there will be Twig next week, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I should be around, and we should have more wonderful stuff coming up then. With that, folks, like I said, we're going to hop over to the Discord, but not before we tell you 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there. Whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, hate God, hate church, no matter what, we believe these 3 things to be absolutely true about every single one of you. Number 1, whether God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's what we're doing here. That's why we put shows together like this. That's why we hang out in our Discord. And number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time that I see you, whether it be for Twig next week or whether it be right now over on our Discord, I look forward to seeing you then. Till next time, bye-bye.